What's up, boys? Welcome to the react video. Today we are reacting. Oh my god, is that a bald spot? Okay, let's cover that. Today we are reacting to the end of Peterbot. I have no clue what I'm reacting to. It's just a casual Timmy video that he uploads, and I'm curious of what it is. But this is a very long one, so y'all might have to stand with me here. Right, so let's have a good time and let's react to some videos, shall we?
For the last 2 years, Fortnite has been dominated by two players.
Clix!
Records being set here, NNA from Peterbot and Pollo, baby.
But as the old saying goes, all good things must come to an end. This past weekend was the FNCS Global Championship, the most important esports event that we've had in the last 5 years.
It was crazy, bro.
Everything was on the line as 100 of the best Fortnite players in history were about to battle it out for giant trophies, millions of dollars, and the glory of being crowned the best Fortnite player in the world. This year's FNCS Global Championships were held in Lyon, France, at the LDLC Arena. 33 trios flew in from all over the world, hoping to leave home as the best team in Fortnite. As usual, everyone got to France a few days early so they could practice together and run some scrims. This would give everybody the opportunity to get used to the changes in the game and in time zones while keeping their skills sharp. Things would get pretty interesting right off the bat before the tournament even started, and we need to talk about drop spots. A lot of wild stuff. Peter was triple con. Finding yourself a good drop spot.
We were uncon and dudded. I don't know.
Also one that's uncontested. However, going into this weekend, there were like 6 or 7 teams that were all trying to land on the same
6 or 7?
Eventually, after a few days of practice, people started to realize that they would need to move drop spots if they wanted any chance of winning. And luckily for most of the lobby, there was a ton of uncontested drop spots. Except notably the Dystopia City drop spot, which was being triple contested by some of the best players in the world.
It was crazy.
Alongside Victor V, Epic Whale, and Paper,
how they holding
we would also have Raito, Razzie, and Tay,
Goats.
And of course, the favorites for winning this World Championship, Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold. This is going to become a lot more important later in our story as we talk about what happened with Peter and his trio, but we'll get into that shortly. On top of all the practice that was happening, we were once again reminded how fun and cool it is to get to see all of these players come together in one place, just like we saw earlier this year at the Pro-Am. There were people streaming, getting a look backstage, and just having a lot of fun. However, as the first day of competition approached, the fun and friendship quickly turned into a very serious and intense energy. Right off the bat, you could tell this LAN was going to
They're loud.
The crowd was electric.
They're loud, boys.
Anyone even came out on stage, and there were times where the announcers couldn't even hear themselves talking.
All right, let's move on. Queezy, Swizzy, Murstache, Levin, I'm coming to you. And what's interesting about this trio is obviously the Swizzy factor, right?
Dude.
Finally getting to play together with his actual trio.
Dude, that is so loud.
I can't even hear you right now. They're way too loud for my guys, Swizzy, Moustache, and Queezy.
And the crowd was definitely playing
crazy,
favorites.
Bro.
These 3 names is kind of like, hey, any one of these trios could go on to win. But then we kind of
damn, bro. Honestly, we got booed too. I'll be honest.
WWE event than an esports tournament. And although I was watching from home, I can't even imagine how this energy would have felt in person.
You've been to many of these Fortnite global lands, but how does this one compare so far?
This is like nothing I've ever seen. This is the craziest land ever.
But now it's time to talk about the actual tournament, and let me just say, this thing was insane and came right down to the wire. So heading into day 1, we need to talk about game 1 because things started crazy right off the bat. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual decided to switch off of their drop spot and land at the train instead of Dystopia City.
And do you see this already? They're already not landing at Dystopia City. Everybody was talking about it. They heard the rumors. I kept my ears to the streets all week long to figure out what their game plan was, and scrims leading up to this weren't necessarily netting the best results, and now you see them already over towards Foxy Floodgate.
After landing the train and looting up, they would decide to then third-party the fight already happening at Dystopia City, seemingly hoping to avoid the first off-spawn battle and get a slight damage lead on the team. But unfortunately
gosh,
for
dude, this was
Peter,
game
Ritual, and
one?
Cold, this plan did not
I don't know if this is
exactly
game
work
one
out.
where Victory sit on in.
Shields are cracked. Peterbot's not letting anybody escape his sight. Peterbot's aim is just notoriously strong, and he is chasing them full on key with those crash pads.
I didn't know this was first
He might be able
game.
to make it before they can pull off the double revive. He's challenging the wall. Victor B trying to do what he can to defend. Victor B goes in big time.
That was a momentum switch, bro.
Cold Ritual. They don't need this. They don't want this. They're looking to see if they can still clean up the exchange, but without Peterbot,
Damn, bro.
they're going to be forced to temporarily retreat.
That is that.
This is
I didn't know it was
almost
first game.
exactly how it was playing in some of those practice games. But this time, Paper, Epic Well, and Victor B, they're being the aggressors in some of these situations.
The trio was able to later revive Peter, but at that point they were obviously at a huge
Vico.
disadvantage, and the favorite heading into this global championship would go down in 20th out of 33 teams in game 1. This was a huge surprise for me and all of the players on stage who are playing, as he has been absolutely dominating not only NA Central, but the entire world for the past 2 years. So after going down early to one of the youngest players in the tournament, this showed everybody
Victor
that
B,
this
bro,
wasn't going to
is
be
honest.
a
Come on,
throwing
be so for real.
tournament that Peterbot was going to win again. Instead, other players were finally going to have a chance to take an early first game lead. After an intense endgame with tons of teams having to rotate
look at me,
over
chat.
the ocean, one team came out on top.
I'm
This is
sad.
a 2v2v2, and the only team alive with all three is going to be Rapid, Kanata, and Bolt. Ow, that's not my fault. I didn't curse him, but it is now just one less player that they have to worry about. Tayson trying to drop down low, but maybe a little too soon. Chicho as well. He gets shut down.
Wow.
Rapid and Bolt steal the game.
Max Nada strikes again, and this time it's for the victory royale.
And at the end of the
Damn.
game, the team that was in first place on the leaderboard was Tayson's trio with an amazing 106
They're con,
points
though, so it don't even matter.
because they had 13
That's crazy.
eliminations. This game was absolutely insane, with one of the best endgames I've seen in competitive Fortnite, and this was just the beginning of what was going to be an insanely competitive tournament. During game 2, Peterbot would once again decide to avoid
50-50.
Dystopia City
Wait, where the f
into
did they
the
land?
train. And once again, they would end up going down early in 17th place. As the final storm circles started to get smaller and smaller, one thing was clear. Queezy, Swizzy, and Merstache
They were dominating, bro. I'm so for real.
going to be a team
That
to
little
be
stick
afraid of
bug.
in this tournament. They were completely dominating the high ground and knocking people down left and right.
Merstache, Swizzy, and Queezy are the real threat right now, though. They just continue to apply steady pressure to those mid layers. It's a big part of the reason why these teams are just getting so picked apart in between.
This absolutely cracked trio would stick to
Oh
the
God,
high
see me.
ground all game, while reinforcing their builds and making sure nobody could take them off their height, where Queezy is
my
known
God,
for playing.
I think we
And
died
to
here.
their benefit, the final zone ended up being up a mountain, which allowed them to safely rain terror and bullets down on the lobby.
And it gets even more worse because the zone is pulling over that mountain. If you didn't prepare for it, it's going to be lights out.
Oh,
But trying to stop Surf Juice, he's going to be the first one that does go down for Merstache. Queezy, that's a huge signal. That's a huge sign. They're
They
trying
said
to
won
get
this?
away from this catalyst on the low ground.
Oh yeah, everybody's
Merstache
dead.
are the only ones that made it to the mountaintop, and Queezy, it is just raining down from above. Queezy continuing to find those eliminations. Pump gonna be dropped. It's only Baka and
Wow.
Yanko, and Panzer's been eliminated too. Queezy and Merstache.
Damn.
No one left to challenge them. King
Damn.
of the mountain.
The crowd went absolutely wild. Following
It was-
this
I think
huge
it was
win
back to
by
back,
Queezy's
right?
Trio, they were on top of the leaderboard
no, that was the first
with
one.
169 points. And they didn't know it yet, but this win was going to be just the start of an incredible tournament for this dynamic EU trio. Game number 3 would start out very similar to the last 2 games we talked about, as Peter and his trio landed further out of Dystopia City. It was clear at this point they had no intention of really contesting that drop spot, and who knows how much they've actually planned going to other spots, and if they were just riffing and freestyling trying to figure out what to do.
think that's
And
what
with
their
all of
plan
this
was.
chaos going on, once again, Peter's team would go down early, finishing in 23rd place, their worst placement yet.
Ritual Cold, though, they got to take this fight up against
Who are these
TJ and
kids?
Brahito.
800
They need
below.
a recovery point.
Bro, it was a
They
trade
managed to bring
fest, chat. I'm not
Cold
even
back
trolling.
off the
Everyone was
reboot,
trading.
But this is a fight that they're going to have to optimally turn into their favor. It's a little bit scattered right now, but they're just so low on that surge. They don't have any other options. They have to keep trying to apply pressure, but they might not get the chance. The surge is going to take care of them alongside Raito. Just an easy.
Damn, bro, that crowd. Yo, I would have been so tight.
I am at
when he's
a
dying,
loss
you
for
get
words.
booed, bro.
After 3 games so far, they have failed to place inside of the top 17.
And it feels like I'm having deja vu because just like game number 2, Queezy, Swizzy, and Merstache put on a brilliant endgame performance.
Savage still making it work.
This is it. It's basically all EU here in the end game. Chat down below, trying to make a play. He's going to get cut short. Reason as well. It's all to Savage, but no, the entire trio ends up back in the lobby. Swizzy has finally come down. He's ready to steal this game away. They have 12 eliminations, already matching their last game win.
Don't count out Pix, Darman, Demons, though. These guys love winning through the low ground. We've seen them do it time and time again. And Queezy with no materials. Pix also no materials. I drop lurking directly behind the team on low ground, though.
They play this so well.
Swizzy, they're starting to drop. They're trying to see if they can close this one out. Queezy finds a knot. Demons is out. Queezy going for the back-to-back. It is all Queezy Merstache and Swizzy for a Game 3 victory royale.
So with just 3 games into the tournament, we already had a team dominating.
We're 6 right here, bro. We had him.
With
I hate watching tournaments back. You guys know this. Every react videos I start tweaking.
This put them over 100 points ahead of second place.
We were doing well.
Who was Bolt's Rapid
Day 2
and
we sold.
Kanata. And after not living off spawn 3 games in a row, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual found themselves in 31st place, just 2 spots off of being dead last. And if you're wondering about Peterbot's friend Poyo, who we haven't talked yet about in this video, well, there wasn't much to talk about with them either. In just 22nd place, Poyo, Agers, and Acorn were looking like they were going to have a bad game just like Peter.
Damn.
But with these top tier teams
I don't know what
in
happened
the
to
bottom
them.
half of the leaderboard, it left room for underdogs like Bolt's and King's trios to end up in the top 10 after the first half of day 1. And with everybody's predictions completely thrown out of the window,
oh my God, we had one good
who
game.
knows who will take this home? Game number 4 would give us a little bit more information as Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual decided to finally stand their ground and just land right on top of Dystopia City.
Dystopia City, Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold, they've had enough of playing the drop spot roulettes. They knew coming into this event it was a triple contested fight, and now they're taking the fight to Tay-Tay. This one's personal as Ritual gets the first stock. There's back-to-back. Cold putting in some work as well. 2 or 3v1 situation here on the ride-up, but it's not gonna last too long. They have finally woken up, enough poking the beast, because now they got what they wanted.
But unfortunately, this quickly found success would disappear even quicker. Peterbot's trio would attempt to pick off another trio, but their sneak attack plan didn't go exactly as they thought it would.
Peterbot, you see them sneaking up, using the bush, the Flowberry Fizz, and the that's Pix, Darm, and Demas on the other side. The revive.
Wait, how do they not kill these kids?
Are weak, and that's going to be easy pickings if they can continue to put this pressure down. Cold trying to be the first one in. Demas is the one that's getting angled out and pressured by 2 different players. Ritual is going to be there on the other side, but a surprise attack, a big shot. That's going to slow things down for only a short moment because Cold, he's realizing the bait switch. My teammate is weak. I have to continue to put pressure out. It doesn't matter who
How are they alive?
Keep these guys on their toes.
I can't lie, that's impressive.
Playing like they just see red right now. All they want to do is jump into somebody else's box that's not their own, but Peterbot, he's going to be forced to take a halt. He knows that he has to try and fight this team underneath them or just leave entirely. Demas, Darm, and Pix, they've done enough. They have pushed back, and Peterbot is pushed out of the location.
And after what looked like a much better start to this game, Peterbot would once again go down in 22nd place. And just like the last 2 games, Peterbot went down early, and Queezy would take home the gold.
back to back to back?
Shot. That's a surprise attack, but luckily for him, his 2 teammates have his back. Merstache gets the drop on the Marius, stays alive. They're targeting out Vanya. 3v1 situation, and they go back to back.
That's crazy.
To back to win another game.
That's crazy.
What have you ever seen on the global stage? The Tritskis of victory royales. Queezy, Swizzy, and Merstache are setting a new precedent here in the 2025 Globals Performance, Jacob.
So if you haven't figured it out yet, the day 2 of this
Wow, that was
tournament is going to be
perfect.
even more insane than
Did it
day
kill
number
him?
1, as we saw some crazy comebacks from crazy teams. That being said, heading into game number 5, we still had Queezy in first.
Look how
with
close we were.
399 points.
Oh my God, this one makes me so mad. This one makes me so mad. It's so sad. We're 8th right now, right? 8th place. 11, literally, how much points is that? Like 10 points. 10 points away from top 3. I think we had the worst day 2 in history of my day 2s.
And the trio of Panzer, Seti, and Yapko with 214 points in second place.
Sad.
By game number 5, I wanted to stop you from reporting on Peter because at this
gosh.
point it feels like I'm just bullying him. But I have to mention that he pretty much went down immediately on his drop.
But it's Marius, it's Peterbot. Both of them are not, but Pixie,
Wow, they conned?
he's got the better end of this deal.
They conned him.
Marius still lurking overhead. Cole
Oh, they did land. Oh, I saw a random ass game.
Anything from this situation, but it's not going to come to fruition just yet. In fact, Pixie, he's going to even be able to play for
Wow.
the revive. Vanya Boo Boo not willing to chase down Cole just yet.
After going down in 29th place, Peter's trio was almost in dead last, which is something I did not expect to be saying at the beginning of yesterday. But like I said, this tournament was just getting started, and we are going to see some absolutely wild comebacks, so hopefully Peterbot's trio can be one of them. While this game started out just about the same as the rest of the games, it definitely ended a little bit different. This time, a different
Queezy win
EU
again?
team would come out on top.
Vico, Benno,
They got like
Quixie,
second though.
They're now trying to remind everybody this might be it's Queezy's tourney so far, but we still want to take the Merstash finding the biggest elimination of the Benno, the siphon carrying him forward. The hopes of Gentleman now resting on his shoulders. Flixie trying to hang, but Flixie wins it all, shutting down the dream here for Queezy.
Vino, bruh.
Saying it all, anything you do, I can do better.
Although they didn't win, as you guys just saw,
That's a good
Queezy's
second place,
trio
though.
came out in second place.
That's a great second.
So obviously they were able to maintain that giant lead over the rest of the lobby.
Yes,
But this
200
win was
points,
actually
bro.
huge for Vico, Venno, and Flixie because it launched them from 13th place in the leaderboard all the way up to 4th place and in contention for winning this
Wow, we were
tournament.
7-2.
So it was time for the final match of
Yo,
the
I
day,
can't watch
game
this,
6
bro.
of day 1,
Oh my
where
gosh,
everyone
this
would
makes
get
me
their
so
last shots
sad,
at
bro.
points before they call it a
Oh
night and
my-
get ready
yo,
for day 2.
I need
Our
to
first
stop
place
looking.
team of Swizzy, Queezy, and Merstash would accidentally fall down to low ground. And although Queezy and his trio are some of the best high ground players on the planet, they're not as confident in their low ground play.
Swizzy and Queezy now working through ultimate low. This is a night and day difference for loadouts, but Swizzy still trying to bring it all together. He only has 5 builds, but he has to take a chance to heal, and Queezy picks it up where he left off.
Top 7.
Eliminations
It's still a
onto
great
Disco
game.
now means that Queezy has
That
some
land's still a
material
great
to work
game.
with, and Marius, he's tarping his way through, but he might just
Marius.
smack dab center into where
Marius.
Queezy is at. Not to mention Proxy, Pablo, Gino overhead.
This is a good moment for all the players down low. They're distracted up above, but not too distracted. They drop down. Surprise attack coming from above. Down goes Queezy. As well, Vanya's now by himself. He gets taken down by Chino, Pablo, Tino. They're the only 2 alive for the team from high ground to low. They're trying to take the fight to Demas, and that one is going to be solidified. And a much-needed siphon comes in just in time. A 2v1 situation, and it's Pix. He's so far
They had a
out
20
of
kill
zone,
win, or
and
19
the
kill.
last medkit has already been used. A last desperation attempt to make his way into the zone, and it does not work. For Roxy, Pablo, and Chino take the game.
They knew that they were going to need an insane performance to close out the day.
Even after going down in 5th place, Queezy's trio looked like they couldn't be beat. They had 521 points in just one day. But for NAC fans, this day ended in a huge upset, as Peterbot, Ritual, and Cold, statistically the best team in the world up until this tournament,
Lobos was a movie,
finished
bro.
the day with only
I hate when I
85
underperform,
points
though.
in
It sucks.
24th place.
Definitely sucks.
And if it wasn't for their small comeback in game number 6, they pretty much would have finished dead last. However, as we know, Peterbot is known for his insane comebacks, and this would be the start of what would hopefully be a comeback on day 2 for Peter. Now, on day number 2, everybody knew one thing. If they wanted a chance at first place,
they had to
take down the best team, Queezy, Murstache, and Swizzy. And Queezy's trio knew that they were going to be under a microscope. Every one of their moves and every bit of gameplay from yesterday was going to be watched in film later that night so that people could find a single piece of weakness to exploit and try and take them out as early as possible. Many fans and even the announcers thought that perhaps players would go a little bit aggressive against Queezy's trio and maybe even contest them on their drop spot to try and bring them back a bit. But luckily for that trio, nobody was brave enough to land on them, so they remained uncontested.
Queezy, Swizzy, and Murstache. A little bit of rumblings taking place all throughout the course of the early morning hours, and even leading into this morning inside the player practice room. You heard the possibilities. Maybe Queezy gets contested, but that's not going to be the case, at least not for Game 7.
And for NA fans,
I'm so mad.
luckily Peterbot
don't even show me. Don't even show me, Timmy.
Back to life a little bit in this game, but not enough because they're still going down in 11th place with 5 eliminations.
It's not bad. That's not a bad game, though.
These 41 points would give them a huge boost in their own placements. Then, shocking everybody, Swizzy, Queezy, and Murstache are taken down from their place on height.
They were the team on high ground, but it got stolen. They're ready to battle it out. M8 versus M8 as Poyo's ready to take on the competition, but towards the backside of zone, they chop it all down.
That was a smart chop.
Saw that one coming from a mile away.
That's exactly why they had Murstache over ahead, still looking to try and build things out here, but Swizzy blocking off 8.
Oh my God.
So professionally, everybody's been chopped up. They're all falling down. Agers has been eliminated. Poyo and Acorn trying to go right back up on the
Malabuka got it.
It's Lux, it's Ping. They're the ones that have fully overthrown the high ground. They're the ones that are ready to find their first victory royale.
Damn.
Murstache, Queezy still as a duo, but they're still holding that first place spot. Kanata
They got Swizzy up.
Down.
Oh, he died.
Only 3 of the teams in our top 5 still alive. Murstache, Queezy, they're trying to be heroes, but Queezy not only takes a big shot, he loses Swizzy across the way. Murstache has to figure out a way to reunite into the same box. They do that very, very quickly, but it's not going to matter. Queezy goes down. Murstache gets the elimination, but he's all by himself.
The family sacrifice might have
This
been
Murstache
everything
clutch.
that they needed, though. Murstache tarping like a madman, just trying to block off every possible angle. He knows there might be an opening, a teammate underneath that's just so much worse off than he currently is. But instead, it's both Kanata and Rapid. He's looking to play spoilers, but he can't get enough damage applied. Murstache still somehow,
Dude, landing was so intense. I'm so locked in right now.
And nobody seems to be cutting him off just yet, but he's running out
Locked
of
in,
material.
done it.
And unfortunately for fans of Queezy, they would go down in 7th place, which was absolutely huge for
not
the
a bad
rest
game,
of the
though.
lobby, who was trying to close that massive point
That's
gap.
still such a good game.
Blocks and Malabuka, they might just be able to do it, chat. Not going to be able to withstand the pressure here. Malabuka with a huge cleanup shot. Watts now just needs to seal this one out. And just like that, Malabuka and Watts, they take down Queezy, and that's going to be the first victory
Damn.
royale here in Game 7.
The first game of day 2,
That's
game
good.
number
That's
7
proud.
of the tournament,
I wish at least
would
we
go
won a
to one of
game.
the best players of all time,
I'm done talking
Malabuka
myself,
and his
chat.
trio. At
I'm
the
done
end of
talking
day
about
1,
myself,
this team was
man.
in 16th place, but
Yeah,
after
moved up to
getting a
top 5.
9 elimination victory
Top 5?
royale, they jumped up 6 spots and got into the top 10. That being said, Queezy's
at
trio
us.
still held a solid first place
Our mental
with
was gone.
570 points. However, we saw teams closing the gap little by little. After a good game in game number 7, Peterbot's trio finally started to find some footing in game
Some momentum?
8, where they got a few strong early eliminations.
That third base action.
But it's okay, there's a 3rd party, there's a 4th party, the 5th party's towards the north. Okay, we got a 6th party now joining Rangers Ruin. Honestly, when Rangers Ruin first appeared, this is the team that said, hey, we're ready to take a triple contested fight against Prodoxy and Taste Trio. They ended up changing things up a little bit, but now they're going back to that home base where they first called it. And now they're just trying to get damage onto anybody, and this might be a good plan for a team like Cold, Peterbot, and Ritual that's had struggles throughout the first 6 games on day 1. They're trying to figure out the formula for success here.
It's about the struggles. It's more that they've just been homeless. There's nowhere on the map that they've been able to establish themselves. But crash pad from overhead, getting the jump onto Scarpa.
That's a good jump.
That is a big
That's a good crash pad right there.
For Peterbot. not ritual.
Oh, it's me, trading surge.
But in Fortnite, it's not about how you start a game, it's how you finish. And Peterbot's trio would finish in 14th place.
Did he just say they had momentum?
Putting them pretty much out of contention for any sort of comeback in this tournament. So it was going to be up to one of the EU teams most likely if we wanted to see Queezy and his trio get overtaken. And speaking of EU trios, there is one team that is going to make day number 2 incredibly challenging for Queezy and threaten their spot at the trophy. And that would be the team that stole the high ground from Queezy in game number 8, and it's the trio of Vanya, Pixie, and Marius.
Pixie, Marius, Vanya. They've held on well for now, but this is the hard part. Can they continue to hold on as the 11th zone ends?
See the double pump coming out from Marius. That's not going to deal a ton of damage or even pressure. Marius is dropping down along with Pixie, staying to the backside of the zone. They're making sure nobody can flank him as Bolts takes down Cammy. He is a solo champion on land before.
Oh, Swizzy.
He's looking to have a masterclass performance here. 600 points. Swizzy is just trying to keep them going across that finish line, scrambling in and outside of the zone. The slurp juice just a little too late.
He just can't do it.
No.
Sickness coming
Marius
into
died.
They spent so much time outside of the zone, but now Watts trouble on the high ground here for Vanya. Boo Boo. Watts still trying to see if he can commandeer it for himself.
Oh my.
Gonna have to use the
Said he win.
Fizz. Probably only a matter of seconds before
Said he
might
win.
get chopped down or force the drop and enter the fight down below. Panzer, Seti, and Yapko though, 11. They're so healthy.
Yapko, they're looking strong, but can they close it out on the low ground? Deemish will fall. And so now, Seti, Panzer, Yapko looking to remind the rest of the competition that they are in it for the win. Watts has no more HP to hold on. The tree will be the only thing stopping it. They just need to connect with the final shot, and the storm will do the job.
They don't like Seti. That French my own. Bro, we need this. Hey, this NA land that I hope they're gonna do, bro. We need this amount of love for the American players. I can't even lie. We need so much love.
Must give them respect. They win game number 7.
We would once again see a win from Seti, Yapko, and Panzer, who were previously in 4th place. With this newfound boost in points, they were now in the top 3, and once again closing in on
and this is when we're out of here.
Heading
We're done.
into game 9, Queezy definitely started to look a lot more nervous, and this gave some hope to some trios that were looking to overthrow 1st place. After some unfortunate mid-game circumstances, Queezy's trio would use up a lot of their mats and heals, leaving them in a very bad position, which would end up with Merstash having to try and clutch as a solo.
But it's Queezy, it's Queezy, it's Merstash on the other side. M8 versus M8. Malabuka has no choice.
Queezy dead
below the damage threshold.
in 2 seconds.
Down. Swizzy, a sliver of HP. It's all up to Merstash.
But Merstash knows how to play it through as a solo. He can maybe clutch up big time here. He just needs a few more placements to continue in 1st place. Malabuka, Walks, Ping, still underneath that surge threshold. They're trying, they're so desperate. Everybody around them knows it too. They're not trying to allow the opportunity to let these guys break through their builds. But Merstash as a solo, what more could you possibly do? He's still buying points. He just needs players to fall around him.
I feel like if anybody could start to make this clutch happen, it's him. They are above the damage threshold, but no Queezy, no Swizzy. They're not in this lobby, and that means a new team is able to claim that high ground. Pixie, Vanya, and Marius. Last time we seen them on this high ground, they weren't able to convert, but this is a second chance for them, and this is a big chance because we're still into the top 15. They have no eliminations for Merstash, Swizzy, and Queezy. They only have 2 placements versus placement points. This is how you close the gap.
However, after being quickly overpowered, Merstash would go down, leaving Queezy's trio in 13th place and giving yet another opportunity for some trios to take over this point gap.
Vaniac won this game, right?
That's a fight they might be willing to take.
I could count on one hand how many healthy teams are still left in this game. Kanata has no shot. He's trying to get as many placements before he eventually does go down. Vanya, I'm not sure what happened, but he gets knocked. 2
Wait, they lost this game?
Sphinx trying to battle back, but Pixie gets dropped.
They got Fizz?
Falls as well.
The hell?
Pix, Darm, and Demas, the underdogs, are looking to take it all because they might be one of the only trios left in this lobby, but I spoke too soon. Darm goes down. They have to get the revive. They're the only team on the low ground in the zone.
Sphinx and Shadow.
Wow.
They don't have a chance. They can't push through. They know they need to find a way to break open. But Darm,
King's dead?
Big shot. That's all.
Oh, Shadow went up. 1v3.
Last man standing on high see. Where's this last player? He's looking to chop out Phaser. Whether or not Phaser can even drop, does he have the Flowberry Fizz? Will he fall before he gets the chance? He was hoping somebody else would deal with Poland, but Pix and Demons.
Why is he peeking without his revolver?
Skagura raining through. Pix, Demons, and Darm bring it home.
From underdogs to top dogs.
The winners of
Top
Game
dogs!
9, Pix, Darm, and Demus,
Okay.
would get themselves 93 points from this victory
That's a good
royale
game.
and find themselves in 3rd place
Where are
in the
we?
standings.
Oh shit, we made
and
a
at this
comeback.
point, Queezy and
We're
his
10.
trio were only leading the field by 81 points. Remember, they were leading by almost 200 coming into today, so if they had one more subpar game, they
Wouldn't
could
be too
easily
good.
be dethroned. Everyone watching once again wondered, is Queezy doomed to finish 2nd place at a global
Is he
event
doomed?
once again? The trio of Vanya, Marius, and Pixie were only 81 points behind Queezy in 2nd place. The consistency and high eliminations of this trio allowed them to be a very big threat to Queezy going into the final 3 games.
Darm just doing everything he can to make the impossible happen. But Marius, Pixie, Vanya, they're just so healthy overhead. Darm is going to meet his demise at the hands of Merstache, but Merstache just not enough gas left in the tank. He's taken out. The rage coming through, the frustration is felt. So many placement points lost.
Now it was up to Pixie, Vanya, and Marius to clutch up and potentially
did.
take this point gap down to nothing or even overtake them and take 1st place. This was the first time all day that Queezy's trio could potentially
where it got
even be
intense.
compromised. But this was the 3rd time that Pixie, Vanya, and Marius had a chance to overtake them, and every single time they failed.
How?
It is wide open if Pixie, Marius, and Vanya can figure out a way to win this game.
How do they not
with a
win this
certain
game?
Number of eliminations. For one of the first times today, we could see a new 1st place team.
Wait, is this when-
Don't let me get
I
too
don't know.
ahead of myself. 2 different games today. We saw them on high ground.
Wait,
and
Kanata
they
goes up,
faltered.
maybe.
This could be 3rd chance to charm.
But look at the amount of materials they have, Jacob. 85 builds, and that's just on Marius. They are so strongly overhead. The rest of the lobby collapsing into itself.
Yeah, I don't know how
It's
that'll win this.
cannibalizing itself underneath them. They hardly have to do anything at
Oh my
all.
God, they're getting
Just
chopped.
Spray, suppress, while Pablo continuing to try
Storm
and push
sickness.
through the storm sickness, tearing away at his back. He finally manages to get inside the zone, but they've been chopped. Pixie saves himself
Oh my
in the last
gosh.
second with the crash pad.
Kanata
But it's
went up?
Kanata. He's going up. Marius
Oh
trying
my-
to stop it. Marius brings down Paul.
The goal.
There's no way he's gonna let this one slide away.
The win in itself is not enough for them to take 1st. I said they need a certain number of eliminations.
That save was
Then
just
after the minigun,
insane.
that was a crazy
This time,
free
nobody
fire.
was going to get between Pixie, Vanya, Marius, and the high ground.
Vanya, Pixie, and Marius, though, refuse to budge. They're not gonna let this one slip through their fingers. For Queezy, it's like grabbing at smoke, watching this lobby try to take them down. Muzz and Shadow still giving some hope. They are a fully intact trio.
There's only 3 full trios left in this game. Shadow, Sphinx, and Muzz are one of them.
Oh my
But
gosh.
they're getting pressured on the other
Shit's
side.
getting
on the
stinky
low
real
ground,
quick.
King Phaser, PH's in. They're trying to run around, take priority on the zone. They have beaten Muzz up this hill, but they're focusing on the high ground. They ran out of build. It's all turning sideways. Down goes PH's in. King is scrambling. He's able
Wow.
to get one, but it's not enough. 3v3. The eventuality comes in. Marius is dropping down.
Oh my God.
He wants to finish the fight, but he's going to go down. Vanya trying to stay up.
Why
2
do they
different
drop
methods,
so early?
2 splashes left, and it's a 1v3 situation.
Muzz, Sphinx, and Shadow might have just done it. All they have to do is remain fully intact. Vanya's still from up above. He's got a couple of chug splashes. He's got a couple of medkits. This might be our first heal up that we are witnessing, Jacob. He knows he doesn't have any other choice. He's got to fully retreat.
No way Sphinx finds him.
Gonna be the last line of defense. He's violating.
Show him
going
take this?
forward. He can't
Wait, how does he not win
manage to
this?
Figure out where Vanya is at, though. There's so much space in between
Med
them.
mist.
Shadow
Wow.
still has 130 left in the med mist, but Vanya, 4 bandages, still has the splashes. Is Storm Sickness going to come into effect, or will Shadow manage to do it with the med mist?
No.
Vanya scrambling. He killed another
Wait, got it
med
off?
mist. Where did
No.
he keep going from? But he can't hold on. He's completely over.
He actually would've
was
got
an
it.
excellent attempt, but Sphinx, Muzz, and Shadow.
Although Vanya was able to hold on to height, he unfortunately
actually would've
just
won.
didn't have the
Wow.
heals to pull off a first place
That's crazy.
win. Going into Game 11, it was clear that EU was absolutely dominating NA Central, and it looked like one of these EU teams was going to win, but we still had no idea which one. Everyone was so close in points, it's impossible to tell who's going to come out on top. And if Queezy wanted to win his first globals, he was going to have to bring back whatever energy they had in day 1, because day 2 they were looking like a completely different trio. They knew that Vanya, Pixie, and Marius had the same rotational pattern in most games, so they were able to position themselves in a way to shoot them out of the sky.
Queezy, Swizzy, and Mustache, they're taking a much more tactical approach. Queezy, the mastermind, you have to remember, back at the Invitational in 2022, he was the one that made the decision. I want to land on them, I want to challenge it, and it's not as direct, but it's still there.
Jacob, this is a strategy. They know they land OXR. They're waiting on top of the mountain. They want to rain down the shots as they fly through the sky.
They crack the shields on the one. There's just so much distance before he reaches
they killed
the
him,
ground.
right?
He's out of render distance
Wait, did he kill him?
Instantly comes the crash.
Wait, how did they not kill him?
Swizzy, they're trying to rotate in that direction. Finally, they get another
they did.
and it works. Vanya goes down.
And then the chase was on. Queezy needed to track down Vanya and eliminate him before he was able to get off a double revive.
I didn't watch, I was playing.
Queezy's trio would not be able to do this, which means after a revive, they would now have to once again face off a full trio while in the middle of the storm.
Swizzy, Queezy, Mustache, they're looking to control their own destiny. They want to take down Vanya. They want to make it so that game 12 isn't even close. But Mustache, Queezy, Swizzy, they're just not able to close the gap. And Mustache, he's lost too much HP. He's going to be forced to fall back.
This is it. This is the moment. Why wait? Game 12, Marius, Pixie, and Vanya, they've given an opportunity here to take down first place and potentially take that spot. Viewpoint separate them.
Get in that box, man.
Realizing their backs are up against the wall, maybe even second-guessing this decision to go ahead and try to surprise attack them. But they have the low ground. Marius, Pixie, Vanya, they have the high ground, and since they do have that, they have the decision to hold and pressure them down below or rotate out like you see here.
Normally, this would be the spot where the fight would end. There's a retreat, and both teams conserve their resources. But no, this was all about taking risks. I mean, these are
this is a risky play, but it worked.
Just 1.5 games left in the biggest tournament in Fortnite history. So instead, Queezy, Swizzy, and Mustache turn up the heat and go directly at them.
It's early zone tick, so they don't have to worry too heavily, but it's the storm sickness, Jacob. Both of these teams are delaying their own endgame.
Mustache and them still have splashes underneath. Vanya's dropping, almost gets boxed up. Mustache has his head on a swivel, continuously turning around.
Queezy sold.
Double pump, and there it is in action. Marius is able to get the knock on the one, but he gets dropped to 38 feet. They desperately need the siphon, but oh no! Disaster strikes. Pixie is now the last one alive. Mustache and Swizzy, they lose Queezy, but it's only a knock. He's quickly going for the revive.
Swizzy and Mustache are goats, bro.
They got all three. That's all that they needed. The space has been created.
This fight was exactly what Queezy needed to once again solidify themselves as the first place team in this tournament. However, this victory would be short-lived because once again, Queezy would go down early.
Got a couple of shots on a couple of trios right there. Maybe they can make something happen. As I say that, Queezy actually gets knocked. Now it's going to be all left to Swizzy. Swizzy gets knocked down.
In a bad game, bro.
Third, fourth, all out of the competition.
And just like that,
all of the
top teams were eliminated before we even got into the end game. And this would give an opportunity for some of the players lower in the leaderboard to gain some ground.
3v3 here for the end game. Kami, Hadi, that's relatively loose because I
dropped down.
Kadu,
no, they got second.
Tisco, they could take it all.
And this is what the international scene has needed all weekend long. But no, Kami, Hadi, Kami's not going to be able to make it through. It's only Tisco, Striker, and Kadu left to deal with Hadi. But Hadi, he'll be forced to charge forward. He tries to head towards the high ground, but he just doesn't have the HP. Tisco just needs one more shot and he finds it. That's going to be the first victory royale here this weekend for an international scene.
The Brazilian region is on top. They've showed up.
On Brazilian.
They reached the top 10 in the leaderboard with a whole nother trio, and this is their chance to shine bright.
And although this win was relatively non-consequential to the leaderboard, it was very cool to see a Brazilian trio get a victory royale, and these 129 points would bring them up 4 spots in the leaderboard. As far as the top 10 goes, however, it was still anyone's game. If Queezy or any other trio had a bad game, it could cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Bro, land's intense,
Business
dude.
as usual on the north side of the map. With almost a 50-plus point lead for Queezy, Swizzy, and Mustache. Nothing changes for them. They don't even need to necessarily win this game. They just need to continue to outscore Pixie, Marius, and Vanya.
And while Queezy, Swizzy, and Mustache had sort of an easy start to the game, they would not be as lucky during the mid-game.
Swizzy, Queezy, they don't hesitate. They're immediately surging upwards. They know it's where the thrill will be tested.
The high ground right now, they're getting challenged, but they're fighting for it all. It's Pixie, it's Marius, and Vanya. If they want the win, this is the moment right here. Swizzy goes down. Mustache has fallen. It is all up to Queezy and Taco.
What happened to Queezy? Did he clutch?
Enough points still left on the board for them to overtake the first.
Oh no! They died.
This was it.
They didn't survive.
Vanya, Pixie, and Marius had time in the last game of the tournament to win first place. But then, moments later, just a few seconds after this happened, tragedy would strike.
Congestion is building at, but they're crash padding up. They're trying to get back on the line. They know what is in front of them, and they want to take it by force.
They already have second place locked in. It's all or nothing. Down
Oh,
goes the
shit.
exit, but no! Marius is now down as well. Pixie with the pressure on his shoulders. You gotta remember though, Queezy is down. They are 50 points shy. He needs to win, but he gets denied. Mustache, Queezy, and Swizzy have done it.
Queezy, Swizzy, and Mustache had
That's
barely
a crazy
held on,
ending.
and it
I
came
never
down to
watched
the
it 'cause I was
last
playing.
game,
That's
but they were your 2025 global champions.
Give it up for your 2025 Fortnite Global Champions. It's Queezy, Swizzy, and Mustache.
Wow. One day, fellas, it'll be ours. I don't know when, but
And if you guys think this is the
hopefully
end of
this
the
year.
video, you are absolutely insane because we have one more super
the title.
important thing to go over. As you guys know, at the end of Global Championships, Epic always makes an announcement about what's going to happen
duos!
next year.
This is hot off the presses. This is what is coming for 2026. We're going back to duos, Benji.
Oh my gosh!
That's right, we're getting more LAN events, bigger prize pools. We are heading back to duos. Things are going to be insane. On top of that, the new ranked system, ranked 2.0, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, hopefully that comes out soon because this game is not doing good right now.
Back. So I am so excited to keep making content for you guys all of next year. With all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Hey, that was a good video, bro. But the end of Peterbot, the title, I mean, he really just did a whole land breakdown, which was actually really entertaining. But end of Peterbot is definitely not just off of land. You know, he's still to go. He's still gonna keep on crushing it competitively. But that was a fun video to react to, bro. That was my first time looking over land and seeing actually what happened. Because I obviously wasn't able to watch. I was playing. Fortunately, we did not do good. But this year I'm playing with Higgs. So far, we're doing really good. So we'll see how that goes. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Comment videos you want me to react to, and I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.